Hi, my name is Danny, and welcome to Saturday on Pagan Perspective. This week I'm subbing for Brendan. Our topic is from Angelo, who is a sub on our channel. His question comes in three parts. First, what is the motivating factor for us becoming pagan? Was it magic? Second, how large of a role does magic play in your personal practice? And third, magic is given such a large role and a great deal of attention in modern pagan practices, and why do we think this is, given Angelo's perspective that that's kind of historically inaccurate? The full question is in the description below, and I know that he's edited this, so if you've perhaps looked at the question on earlier days during the week, you might want to take a look at it today to really see the nice honed edited version he did. Like Yucca, I'm going to start from the third question and work backwards. I believe that our ancestors did practice magic. I come from a path of Druidry with a very strong mythos element to our practices and beliefs. The myths of Mabagoan, of the Irish folktale cycles, other historical writings that Druids often rely on or are inspired by have grandiose magic described in them, turning people into swans, lots of animal transformation and communication, the Fae, so many big, grand magical gestures in these stories. Some of this is probably bardic tool used to emphasize lessons, to entertain an audience, but in general, I think there is some truth to this. If a people didn't believe in small acts of magic or use the everyday sort of magic of folksy pagan people, it would be very hard for them to believe in grandiose gestures in these myths. The magic used to guarantee the fertility of crops, of livestock, the magic used in a kitchen. This magic, I believe, was really done all the time. And it's frankly how I use magic in my practice. I don't cast a circle and do heavily defined ritualistic spell casting in my path very often. Usually it is guaranteeing that the seeds I plant in my garden do well. It is using magic to help bring peace and ease of mind to a friend who's had a really difficult week. These everyday little magics, I think, are perhaps slightly different than what our historical ancestors used, but I think it comes from the same root and desire, and most importantly, the same skill of honing one's will and using symbols and the spirits around you to create a better world for yourself and those you care about. And I touched on this briefly, but high-end spellcasting doesn't play a huge role in my path. I certainly have used it in times of need, but generally I'm focused on manifestation of the little acts of magic that help me better communicate with the spirits of place in which I live and to really enjoy my life and kind of connect in a deeper way. The first question, what drew me to paganism? Magic was definitely not what drew me to my path, and certainly not what drew me to Druidry. There is a path that many people like to specifically define called Druidcraft, where people add heavy elements of witchcraft to Druidry. But in general, I don't think most Druids focus on spellcasting and high-end ritualistic magic in any notable way. But that doesn't mean Druidry doesn't acknowledge magic or use magic. It's just more subtle, everyday, incorporating the elements of the other world, using the spirits of place to help bolster the will and elements you're trying to draw into your life. What drew me to paganism and Druidry was really the desire to find a spiritual path that empowered me. I never doubted that there was more to the world I lived in. I never doubted my relationship with deity. I just needed a better language and a better set of tools that would allow me to connect to deity in the way that I felt was authentic and satisfying for my life. And paganism provided that. I don't have to go through a priest. I don't have to go through someone else's doctrine to connect to the deity that I believe in. I don't need to find fault in the paradoxical view that there is an ultimate source and a spirit in everything around me. I am the ultimate and final authority of my spiritual practice. Like I hope everyone is the ultimate and final authority of their own spiritual practice. We are spiritual beings, and I believe very strongly that we need to find the tools and resources that help us really embrace whatever spiritual path we're called to follow. And Druidry for me is exactly that. I think magic is a wonderful tool, and I think it's exciting and empowering and really drives a lot of people to embrace ideas and philosophies that they might not otherwise have the courage to explore. And just a final note, just because something isn't historically accurate does not mean that it's wrong or bad. Using historical sources to enhance your practice, to reconnect to ancient wisdom, that is great. But I don't think we can say just because it's historically inaccurate, we can't do it or we shouldn't do it. That's my own personal opinion. Anyway, great question, Angelo. Thanks for watching, and as always, may you find peace in the sacred grove.